Hey guys, I'm Mister, and welcome to my first showcase video of 2024 and to my first mashup showcase video where I'm going to be showcasing my LEGO custom minifigures from Loki Season 2 and the Marvels. And here I have the God of Stories himself, Loki, the GOAT himself, Mobius, and from the Marvels I have Captain Marvel herself, Miss Marvel, and Photon. Now, I've been working on these figures, I think I started working on these figures, in September, and I think I started on the Loki Season 2 figures in September, and I started on the Marvels figures in October, and I was going to try to showcase these guys, I think right before 2023 ended, but unfortunately that did not happen because of life. And I kind of feel like that if I did showcase for the Marvels, it really wouldn't do that well, and same goes for Loki Season 2, and just knowing YouTube's incredibly stupid algorithm recently, it's just like, that wouldn't work at all. So I decided to make just kind of like a combination showcase video, and kind of like a mashup showcase video. And I think I might call this the Marvel Phase 5 showcase video, if that makes sense. But I don't know. I'll think about it when I'm about to post a video or something. I don't know. But yeah, and also, like, a figure that I'm actually missing here is actually Sylvie. And Sylvie might have to be in her own other separate showcase video with a few other figures. I'm not sure about that because Sylvie's just taking me just a ridiculous amount of time to remake. It's like, oh, LEGO News is actually, her design is actually really simple. But with the paint I'm using to make Sylvie, it just really isn't working for me, man. So I might have to scrap that figure entirely, or might have to do something else about it. But yeah, guys, with all that said, let's get started.
War is on its way. Come on, you're the god of mischief. Always have been. Always will be.
So starting off with the Loki Season 2 figures, and of course starting off with Loki himself, one of, if not the best written characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You know, Loki's character arc is just amazing, right next to Iron Man and Rocket Raccoon. You know, Loki just has such a compelling and just such an amazing character arc throughout the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe and all the projects he has been. You know, man, like, I absolutely just loved Loki more and more as time went on. You know, and just seeing him reach his full potential in Season 2, just, oh my god, I think one of the best written characters in any superhero project, to be honest with you guys. I genuinely think Loki is one of the best written characters in any superhero project, right next to Iron Man, Rocket Raccoon, and others. But yeah, man, so someone might be asking, why did I not make the God of Stories Loki from the end of Season 2? And unfortunately, guys, I was already working on this figure before the season, before the series finale premiered. So this is what I was going for, and as much as I would love to make that figure at some point, it's just the horns that really concern me. Hopefully I will make that figure at some point for my Secret Wars trailers, but we shall see about that. Maybe 2025 I'll make that figure, I don't know. But I'm still happy with how this figure turned out because it features the best 3D jacket I have made, in a while. You know, I absolutely just love the way this jacket turned out. And just to get that out of the way, man, I just want to talk about this jacket really quick. You know, doing a different format this time. So the jacket is pretty much just a standard piece of cardstock that I just cut out and kind of wrapped around the entire minifigure body and just kind of shaped it. You know, I kind of first of all punched the holes in, and then I shaped the jacket. You know, of course, I tried to make it a bit open. You know, I folded these two sides here, cut out these little seams here, so you can see that. You can see that there, and painted the entire jacket in my own custom dark brown color. And then after that, I went over it with normal brown for the highlights and details. So you can see the little buttons there. These two pockets here are actually 3D pieces that I just cut and glued on there. And then this back piece is a cardstock piece that I did cut out and glued, just because Loki has a bit of a flap on the back of his jacket. And what I noticed with Loki's jacket is that it wasn't his jacket is not like the jacket he had in Season 1. You know, this one's a lot darker and this one has a bit more of a color going for it. So I really wanted to capture that with Loki. And the first jacket, which I think I might put a picture up, I don't know, here or there, where it just didn't look that good, man. It just looked way too squared, and I really wanted to have a second crack at this jacket, which actually just turned out perfectly. And it's actually the reason why Loki was, I think, my top 9 best figure of 2023. So yeah, I just really wanted to get that jacket out of the way because of how good it turned out. And you will see some similarities with Mobius when I get to him. So yeah, and also the arms are just have a little bit of just have a tiny bit of paint detail there, nothing really too special. Now talking about the rest of the figure. The head is just, I think, a Superman head from like the early Lego DC superhero sets from 2012. So I pretty much just took that head because that was literally the closest I had to Tom Hiddleston's likeness. And unfortunately, about the hair, I just couldn't find a right hairpiece for Loki that would suit not just the face, but at the same time the jacket as well. So I just went with this hairpiece and I just painted it in black. But I think it works okay. I think it works pretty well, For what I have, I think it works pretty well. And as I remove the arms, just to get the arms out of the way and just show the rest of the torso. The torso has two 3D pieces, like this part right here, and the tie. Just cut those out and glue them on. And I did take a bit of inspiration from Casman's Lego's Loki figure from 2021, and primarily the torso. That was like the thing from my kids' figure that I took the most inspiration from was the torso. Now I think Loki does have has a lot more detail on his tie, but telling by the reference man, it just has just a tiny bit of detail at the end. So you can see that there, and you can see all of that there. I actually did paint the sides like gray, because this was originally a white torso, but just leaving the sides white with just wouldn't sit right with me, and of course it was going to be covered with the jacket, so the paint wouldn't really tear. So yeah, nothing really going on with the back, and the belt, the TVA belt, it's just a 3D piece. And I did paint the TVA logo there. I don't know if you can see that there. You can kind of see that. And I did paint the belt. So, yeah. And then the legs are just nothing really special, man. The legs are not really nothing special, Just very simple, just one base color. And I did paint the shoes. And I did paint a bit of the pants draping over the shoes a bit. That was actually kind of tedious to paint. But, yeah, man, that's pretty much going to be it for Loki. I hope to make, like I said, the God of Stories Loki at some point, because I think that's such an amazing design I would love to pull off. I think I've seen a lot of people tackle that in the community, so I don't know, might want to try that and might find a way, gonna try to figure out a way to make those horns. But yeah, guys, and as I saw to just assemble Loki really quick, if I could just And by the way, fun fact, I was actually supposed to go see Tom Hiddleston this year in ConFest, but that didn't happen because of life. So but I think it would have been really cool for me to see Tom Hiddleston in person. But one of my friends got to take a photo with him. So yeah, man. But yeah, guys. With all that said, let's move on to Mobius. Now moving on to the GOAT himself, Mobius.
Wow.
I personally think that Mobius is one of the best characters introduced in the Marvel Cinematic Universe since Endgame. I absolutely just love Owen Wilson's performance as his character and his dynamic with Loki and his chemistry with Tom Hiddleston. Just, oh my god, I absolutely just love every second that these two are together, and I really hope they reunite at some point, hopefully in Secret Wars. So yeah, like I said with Loki, you can see some of the few similarities between him and Loki as like the 3D jacket, which I'm gonna get out of the way. But before I get to that, I do want to get this custom prune stick out of the way, which is just a very simple build, Just a standard black lightsaber hilt with a orange stud with a hole and a Harry Potter wand. So yeah, nothing really too special. So now moving on to the jacket. The jacket is very similar to Loki's, like I said, but just smaller and a bit more open, as you can see there. So I pretty much did the exact same thing with Loki, where I pretty much just just took a piece of cardstock, wrapped it around the minifigure torso, marked where the holes were, and just punched them out and just cut and just cut out this shape for the jacket, and it turned out pretty good, man. I think I did take some inspiration from Casman's Legos Mobius from 2021 with my figure right here. So yeah, you can see that there. As Loki, the light brown highlights around his jacket, and yeah, and the arms really have nothing going for them, but you can see that paint detail there. And as I remove the arms, just to talk about the torso. The torso is, like I said, similar to Loki's, but I did take a bit more inspiration from Casman's Legos one. I did take a bit more inspiration from Casman's Legos Mobius, especially with the tie, which Mobius does have a bit more detail on his tie than Loki's. So I really did capture that. I used a few different shades of brown and tan. So I used a bit of tan there, a bit of dark brown, and just a kind of I think a chocolate brown or a light brown just color there. So you can see that there, and you can see some the wrinkles there. And of course, these two parts are 3D piece. I think this part right here is a 3D piece, but I don't know. It's been a while since I made this figure. And the TVA belt is right there. And then basically these are just multi-layered 3D pieces where I first cut out the belt, and I applied the buckle in, which I think the TVA logo on Mobius turned out better than Loki, in my opinion. I just think the TVA logo just turned out better. So, yeah. Nothing really going on with the back, nothing really going on with the back, because, it's just blank. And I do want to talk about the head really quick. The head is pretty much a Han Solo head that I pretty much just, took and just, kind of, just repainted the eyebrows and just painted the mustache on there, which I do think does capture Owen Wilson's likeness. And for the hair, I pretty much took a standard Superman hairpiece and I pretty much just painted right to capture some Mobius hair in the series. Now I think I would have gone for another hairpiece. I think a few other people went for the shorter hairpiece, but I feel like this one just works best. So yeah, and the legs are just the exact same thing as Loki, except the pants do not drape over the shoes. So yeah, nothing really special there for Mobius. So yeah, man, that's pretty much gonna be for Mobius, and as I stall while I reassemble the figure, I really hope we get to see Mobius again, man. I really hope we get to see Mobius again at some point, maybe hopefully in Deadpool and Wolverine. Just seeing Mobius interact with Deadpool would just be so funny, man. If I see Mobius interact with Deadpool in the cinema, I'm gonna laugh my ass off because it's just gonna be too funny. And I really do hope that we do get a reunion between Loki and Mobius at some point, and I'm hoping in either a potential Loki season 3 or Avengers Secret Wars. So yeah, guys, that's gonna be for the Loki season 2 figures. Now let's move on to the Marvels.
Higher. Further. Faster.
So moving on to the figures from the Marvels, and of course starting off with Captain Marvel herself, Carol Danvers. Now I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I personally think that the Marvels is better than Quantumania and Love and Thunder. Just putting it out there. I prefer the Marvels over Quantumania and Love and Thunder any other day of the week. So yeah, just pointing that out. So I do want to answer a question if some of you do have, is that Lego News, why didn't you make the suit that Captain Marvel wore for the final battle? Some of you may say that suit's better than the suit that she wore for the majority of the movie. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I personally just don't like that suit. I personally don't like it, It's just so desaturated and so dull to me. It just didn't look right to me. So I decided not to make that suit and just basically make this suit that she wore for the majority of the movie. So yeah. So I do want to talk about the shade of blue that I used on this figure, pretty much the base color, the base color I used for this figure. And I do want to talk about it because I was actually originally planning to use navy blue as the base color for this figure. But unfortunately, when I tried painting the detail, like this detail onto the torso, with the navy blue color, it just didn't look good. It wouldn't show. That paint was so thick, and I just didn't like working with it. So I looked at my Rocket Raccoon figure, and the blue that I used on him works better in terms of detail. So I pretty much used that as the base color for this figure, and pretty much repainted all the navy blue areas with this color. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out. And so talking about the figure itself, I do want to talk about the head really quick. The head is pretty much, I think, a Harry Potter. I think it's from the Harry Potter sets. And I pretty much just took that head, repainted the eyebrows, and I did paint the red neck on there. And it's also the closest head I had to Brie that resembled Brie Larson. So yeah, and the hair in the preview photo was actually originally blonde, but I got a new color while I was out of town for Christmas that actually captured Captain Marvel's hair perfectly. So I pretty much repainted the hair in this nude brown color, and it just turned out so good, man. And I feel like it makes the figure stick out a lot more. So yeah, as you can see, the rest of the figure is fully 100% hand painted besides the face. So you can see all that detail there. I do want to talk about the star really quick. The star was literally, I think, one of the worst things I had to paint in a while. I just didn't enjoy painting this damn star, and just, oh my god, I hated every second painting it. But then I managed to at least get it to a point where I really liked it, but wasn't too messy. So yeah, and that's how it ended up, which I think it ended up pretty damn good, man. I thought for the first time I did this, it was not gonna look that good, but never mind, man. It actually turned out pretty damn good. So yeah, removing the hair, for you to get a better look at the red on this figure, so you can see that there. And as you will see around the entire of the figure, you will see some dark blue highlights, as you can see that there. You can see that there. You can even see some of that there. I did paint the curves, and I think the belt here is a 3D piece that I pretty much just painted the rest of the detail on. And yeah, The arms really have nothing special going for them, except I did paint the exposed skin on there, and I pretty much did paint the gauntlets on here, which painting these gauntlets wasn't that fun. And painting these shoulder designs here were also not fun, but I managed to pull through it. So yeah, but man, did it turn out really clean. So I do want to talk about the back before we get to the legs. So the back is fully painted. I do think the inspiration I used for this figure was, I think it was like from maybe, I think Jaka Brick, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know like the designer I used this from. I don't know like the designer I used this like the reference from. But you can see that paint detail there, and you can see the painted curves, and yeah, you can see that there. And you can see some like these flat surfaces because of the hair. So yeah, and apparently the back was a lot simpler than the front. So yeah, now we're on to the legs. Oh my god, man, you know me. I hate painting legs. I absolutely just hate it, and a lot of customers can agree with me on this. Painting legs are just the worst, you know, and especially painting this design onto the legs, which let me tell you, were very thin lines. I had to carefully paint like every single one of them, like just so that I can paint up the rest of the design. Was just, oh my god, I hated every single second of it. But yeah, you can see that there. And you can see some like the dark blue highlights right there. So, or some like the dark blue areas. So you can see that there. And the boots were actually the exact, and actually they paint the boots in the exact same color that I actually painted my Star-Lord figure with. Just because like I really didn't want to paint black boots, so, and telling by the reference to Captain Marvel had a bit more darker blue boots, if that makes sense. So I pretty much like took that exact same color I used for Star-Lord and used that color for the boots. So you can see that there. If my camera can go to focus. So you can see, painting these shins here were not easy, especially painting this one. This one was definitely not the easiest, and painting like those little lines there was just not easy at all. And of course, the minifigure does have wraparound detail on all four sides of the legs. I actually think like the lines on these boots turned out pretty clean, you know, like they just turned out pretty clean the way they just continue around the minifigure's legs. I personally think that design turns out really cool, like, or clean. Like, I know that's always like the case with these figures, you know, like whenever I paint like detail like that around all four sides of the minifigure's legs for them to connect on all four sides, it just turns out really clean, man. So yeah, that's gonna be it for Captain Marvel, man. I personally think that Captain Marvel got a better character in the Marvels than in her first movie, because in her first movie she really didn't show any emotion, which I think is the reason why one of my best friends hates her. But like, I think that Captain Marvel was done better in this movie as a character. So yeah, I personally, yeah, she was actually a lot more likable, and I really hope to see Brie Larson again as Captain Marvel, and hopefully another project, or hopefully in the next two Avengers movies. So yeah, I also really hope she is a part of the new Avengers team. So yeah, now let's move on to Photon. So moving on to Monica Rambeau's Photon, I'm going to be straight with you guys. I hate making this figure in my life. I actually hated making this figure, and that's because of course, white paint, which you know me, guys, and I mentioned this a million times. I hate working with white paint. White paint is just so thick and clunky to use, and like I said a million times, every single customizer will tell you this, white paint is just such a pain to work with, and I did not enjoy making this figure whatsoever. But at the same time, I at least got a good figure out of it, which is what matters, okay? So just wanted to point that out. Yeah, and also I did use like a new white paint this time. So actually did use a new white paint this time, but it just didn't look that good, so I might resort back to my old one. So yeah, so getting the head out of the way, of course, as usual. The head is pretty much the exact same Monica Rambeau head that was used in the Marvel CMF series, and I pretty much like just repainted the neck in black with a white outline. So yeah, and then I was actually originally planning to paint the hairpiece in a matte black color, but like I just feel like just leaving Legos black would just work best. So yeah, now moving on to the rest of the figure. Like, one thing I do want to point out with this figure, and this goes for like anyone who's using white paint on any custom minifigure, is that if you're going to use white paint, first paint the detail with gray paint. You know, basically use gray paint first, and then go over it with white paint, because if you're using gray paint, you can mark out the mistakes. You know, you can correct the mistakes. Unlike white paint, where if you make one mistake, done, you can't do anything about it, or you'll just build up paint. So I carefully painted all the detail that you see here with gray, then I went over the gray with white. So yeah, you can just see all that white paint there, which just looks, oh my god. So you can see the design here, which is actually heavily inspired by Lego's design. And I might put I might put a picture here, but you can see that this design was heavily inspired by Legos. And yeah, painting this design was not easy. And at the same time, I actually painted this design while I didn't have my setup. Like I was actually painting this design on the dining table before my things arrived, and I just finished up the rest of the figure when my actual desk arrived. So yeah. So you can see that there, and you can see the back is also inspired by Legos. I might put a picture right here, so you can see that there. And one thing I do want to point out, like with the black areas, especially in these areas here, you know, the back and with the legs, is that Monica has a bit of like a texture going on the black areas of her suit. And I decided to do the exact same thing I did with Miles Morales, where I just pretty much just painted the texture with a metallic black, as you can see that there. And I've done this like multiple times at this point, so you can see all of that there. The arms were a bit of a pain in the ass for me to paint because of, you know, and especially painting like these shoulder designs here was like not easy at all, and especially painting this thin white line there, just, oh my god, I hated that so much. Especially painting these gauntlets here, which actually had a bit of like, I think had like a bit of a DNA looking design, but I did paint a bit of a DNA looking design right there. You can see that. I don't know if you can see that there, but there's something there, so. Yeah, and of course, the legs, of course, sucked to paint. But it really did, but surprisingly, the legs didn't require as much white as I expected. It's just this design right here, which of course I went over with gray, and I went over it with white. So yeah, and painting like these gray designs on around like where the thighs are, like, you know, you can see that there. Yeah, painting these two gray designs were definitely not easy. You know, trying to have like the lines symmetrical was not easy, and when it comes to stuff like this, it's definitely not. It's pretty much a challenge. So yeah, and then all of that was done. I pretty much painted like the texture where it was shown on the reference where the texture was. So you can see that there. And then moving on to the boots. The boots, like in the actual movie, has like so much detail, but like I just wanted to be done with this figure. So pretty much all I did is that I just painted the boots in metallic black with some gunmetal detail. So you can see that there. And I did paint some gunmetal soles on there. So yeah. And as you can see, the detail does wrap around on all four sides of the minifigure's legs. So, yeah. And fun fact, Photon was actually the final figure I worked on, right? At least like the final figure I finished before I did the showcase, because it was like taking me forever to do the back. So, yeah, that's like the reason why Photon was like the last one to be done. So, yeah, guys, there you go. I can't wait to see Monica again in the MCU. Hopefully she'll maybe interact with the X-Men, you know, hopefully we'll maybe see her in Deadpool and Wolverine, who knows. But yeah, man, I can't wait to see Monica again in the MCU and to see where her story goes. So moving on to the final figure of the showcase video, it's definitely saving the best for last, that being Kamala Khan's Miss Marvel. Now, some might be like, again, Lego News, why do you make her new suit? I'm like, no, I just don't care, man, I just don't care, and it kind of really did bother me how we went through a godlike suit from her series to just a bland generic suit in like the Marvel. So I just didn't like that at all. And I've been wanting to make this figure since like 2022, and the Marvel has given me the perfect opportunity to do that. So I wasn't gonna miss it. And this is actually one of my favorite Marvel suits like in a while. So yeah, it's actually one of my favorite Marvel suits in general. My favorite live action Marvel suits in a while. So yeah, so starting off with the head. The head is a Barbara Gordon head from the Marvel CMF, from the Lego Batman movie CMF series, where I think she had like a pink mask, and all I did was I just repainted that mask. I think the minifig maker did this. So yeah, so pretty much what I did was I just repainted the mask into my own custom light blue color, and I did paint the gold highlights, and I also did do the same on the back side. And if you're wondering why this side is darker and this side is lighter, and that's because this mask was originally navy blue, but I went over it with the new color, and it ended up creating that color that you have to see right there. But I do have it on this head, and if you just want to see how that looks, yeah. See, I also did paint the neck onto the figure. I also did paint the neck on right there. And the hairpiece is a Lego Friends hairpiece that I pretty much just took and pretty much just carved the crap out of. You know, I just went to town with the X-Acto blade, just carving this hairpiece just to try to make it as like, I was trying to make it like, I don't know, like sort of similar to Kamala's hair in the MCU, and it turned out perfectly. And after all like the carving was done, after like I think all the modification was done, I hit it with multiple layers of gloss paint, and then I hit it with multiple layers of black paint, just to pretty much like create that smooth finish. Now before we get into the rest of the figure, I do want to talk about this scarf piece that I made for Kamala, and it's pretty much just like a bit of like red construction paper that I pretty much like drawed out and cut, and I also did map out how like the individual scarf pieces, as you can see right there. And after all that was done, I did paint it in red. It actually took me a few attempts to get this right because like one would be a little bit too thick, one would be a little bit too thin, but I managed to get these two to a decent, I would say, like consistent amount. So yeah, putting that back on and putting the head back on so that I think I might have to remove this like just to show the back. So let's just put the head back on. I also do want to talk about the fist that she has right here, which is pretty much just a standard Lego minifigure big fist, or like a fist accessory. I think from Metamorpho from the DC CMF series from 2020. And all I did was that I pretty much took some like the metallic purple color that I got when I was out of town, and I pretty much mixed it with some metallic blues, and I pretty much just created that color that you see right there, and you will see it on the bangle later on. So yeah, and also I think it's like a good way to represent Kamala using her powers, which is actually pretty cool. But we're just gonna get that out of the way for now. And now talking about the rest of the figure, one thing with this figure that I actually had a hard time doing was that Miss Marvel has like a bit of like a drape piece going on, like sort of like a skirt in some way, and I really wanted to do that, but I had such a hard time doing it, and then when I did it, I cut off like a massive corner that I wasn't a fan of. But then I looked at Brick Buster Customs Miss Marvel figure, and he pretty much what he did was actually he cut out a 3D piece, glued it to not just the torso but the hip of the legs, and pretty much created that effect right there. So I did that and actually applied like a 3D piece for the scarf, as you can see right there. I don't know if you can see that. So then after all that was done, I went straight to paint work, and let me tell you, painting this S right here was not easy. Like, I did not have a fun time painting this S, and I don't know why my camera's going out of focus. I don't know why that's the case. So painting this S here was definitely not easy. Like, trying to just paint the base outline, trying to get all the corners right, trying to get pretty much get the shaping right was definitely not easy. But then after all that was done, I had to pretty much paint the golden red, because if you look closely, Miss Marvel does have a bit of red going on with the S. So I pretty much had to paint gold first, then red, then gold. Pretty much in layers in some way, which was not easy. And yeah, painting this was just not fun. And I also did paint these two bits right here, which did take me a bit of a while to paint. It actually did take me a while to paint these two areas right here. And I outlined the bottom with gold, and I did cut out that little bit right there, where you can see that there. So yeah. Now I do want to talk about the back really quick. I recently just finished up the back, and unfortunately I didn't have enough reference for the back. And I there was supposed to be a bit of a curve going on here, but I don't know, okay, because I barely had any reference for the back, though the suit has been around, the suit has been going around the internet for a good long while now. And I pretty much used I think the first poster from the show and an action figure. That's the only reference I had for the back, unfortunately. So yeah, one thing I forgot to mention is that you can see a metallic blue texture around going on here, and that's because Miss Marvel has a bit of a star-like pattern going on the blue areas of her suit. You can barely see them, but I wasn't gonna paint them on. So pretty much the easiest way for me to do it was pretty much just take metallic blue and paint individual dots on these areas right here, both on the front and the back. So you guys just create the design right there. And I feel if I just left it blank without the metallic blue dots, it wouldn't look that good. So I definitely think the metallic blue dots make this figure look a lot cleaner. I also did do it onto the neck as well. So yeah. Now talking about the arms were very, very tedious for me to paint, because painting these individual shoulder designs here were definitely not easy, especially painting this one right here. That one was just such a pain for me just to try to paint, because I already finished this one first, and then it took me a few weeks just to get this one right. And I think I spent until I think 3 a.m. working on this arm alone, and I finished this arm earlier. So yeah, it just took me forever just to paint this one arm. And I'm actually gonna try to paint another arm for this. I'm actually gonna try to paint another arm, but without the bangle for the Avengers shirt that I plan to make this year. So look out for that. And speaking of the bangle is a 3D piece. Pretty much similar to what I did with the cuffs on Sonic, or the cuffs I did on my Michael Keaton Batman figure, where I pretty much wrapped it not just around the wrist of the minifigure, but also around the cuff, I wrapped it around the end of the minifigure arm and around the wrist piece of the hand. So yeah, you can see that there. And the base color is a bronze color, and I hit it with multiple shades of gold and like this metallic purple color. Why is my camera not focusing, man? Like, so you can see that there, and the outlines are metallic black. And these purple designs here were actually originally metallic blue, but then after I got the metallic purple color, I pretty much painted that on and used the exact same color that I use on the fist. So yeah, you can see that there. And one annoying thing that happened with this figure was that, like, you know, I finished up the arms, and then like I looked at my reference and I noticed that she had elbow pads, which, by the way, this figure was inspired by Buzz Brickier, and he actually had an amazing Lego Ms. Marvel render I used as reference. But for some reason, this guy didn't show the back of his minifigures, so like I just like looked at like the reference and I just noticed that the elbow pads were there, and I just painted them last second. So yeah, you can see why this one's higher and why this one's lower. So yeah, that was not fun at all. I absolutely just hated that. That really did annoy me. So yeah. Now moving on to the legs. The legs were kind of straightforward, you know, nothing really too special. You know, I painted, you know, they were fully painted in red, you know, painted these two lines here, and I did paint these knee pads with some dark red and some black. So yeah, and then like on the sides of her legs, she does have like kind of like this pattern similar to how she has on the blue area. So for that, I just painted a metallic red texture around there. So you can see that. And of course, I did paint her shoes, and of course, I had to use white paint, man, to paint the soles and like pretty much paint her shoes. And I was actually thinking about like painting the laces on her shoes, but like I wasn't gonna do that, man. I just wanted to be done with this figure. So yeah, you can see the shoes wrap around on all four sides of the minifigure's legs. So yeah, man, that's pretty much gonna be it for the Ms. Marvel. You know, I think this was like the figure that took like the longest to make, or at least the figure I wanted to spend the most time talking about, because this is one of my best figures I have made. So yeah, and let me know if you guys agree or not. So yeah, just as I stall just to put the figure back together. So yeah, and also I can't wait to see like Ms. Marvel in the MCU. You know, Ms. Marvel is like literally the best part of the Marvels, and I can't wait to see her form the Young Avengers in like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So yeah, guys, there you go. Like, oh my god. So yeah, guys, there you go, Ms. Marvel. So guys, that's going to be my first showcase of 2024. My first massive showcase will be a new thing, which will be a new thing going forward for the channel. You know, I feel like there will be figures I don't think would warrant their own showcase. So instead, they're going to be a massive showcase like this. And I think the next massive showcase will be my Lego custom minifigures for Namor, Clea, America Chavez, Cassie Lang, and War Machine, which will be done for the Avengers trailer. And I also can't wait to be doing showcases again, man, and also to be working on some amazing projects I have planned this year, you know, such as the Ultimates project, which I just announced, which are pretty much going to be my own superheroes. You know, that's a project I've been thinking about for such a long time, and I just can't wait to work on that this year. You know, I recently just revealed Anakin, you know, and I hope to get to work on Ahsoka soon. I just need the parts for her to arrive so I can get to work on Ahsoka and hopefully get that showcase maybe around summertime. But I also can't wait to make Deadpool and Wolverine for July. You know, man, that's gonna be so amazing. I just can't wait to make those figures, especially Hugh Jackman in that Wolverine suit, man. It's just gonna be so amazing. And just to let you all know, I'm actually very hard at work on the Avengers trailer, which I'm currently writing. You know, I feel like, you know, this is actually something I've been working on for about more than a year. So I just can't wait to get back to work on it and hopefully get it out to you guys by I think summer of this year. So yeah, guys, lots of things coming, and though it has been dried recently, I just hope to get back on track with YouTube. And if YouTube's algorithm can stop being such a pain to not just me, but to many people. Just, oh my god. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna finish off recording this, and I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go sleep. And yeah, guys, hope you all enjoyed. And this is Lego News signing out. Have a great day, everyone.